Hi everyone. Thought I'd give you a different view today rather than the big orange wall. This is the side of my fireplace. It's a flagstone fireplace. Isn't it pretty? Anyway, this is a response to hilldiggity. I've talked about a lot of this stuff in other videos, but I decided to go ahead and uh, make a video reply because she seems to like them so much. She had a couple questions. I've got them written down. Being born in, when did you realize you were a JW? I think for me it was school. That's when I first started noticing that there was a difference between me and the other kids. Uh, a lot of my family was already a witness. My uncle, my cousins, my grandparents on my father's side, my grandparents on my mother's side, we didn't really have much to do with them. I understand now why, but so I was really kind of surrounded by witnesses all the time. And it wasn't until I got in school that I realized they got to do things that I didn't. And like I said in my previous video, the holidays and birthdays and stuff were really never an issue for me. Um, the weird thing was it's the Pledge Allegiance. I think that's the one I was the most uncomfortable with as a child that I can remember. And I would stand with everybody, but it was just weird. That was the one that made me the most uncomfortable. It made me feel the most different. Believe it or not, the holidays really never bothered me. Um, so yeah, that was probably it. Was there a time as a JW teen that you were a true believer? I think I was always a true believer. I mean, I think that's why now waking up, even though I've been away for years, is so difficult because I think I've always believed it was the truth. One, it was what I grew up with, and again, my entire family and everybody I knew, and we didn't really know anybody outside of the witnesses. So I just kind of thought that was it. I never had exposure to anything else, and even watching Bible movies or anything like that, my father was always arguing and telling them how wrong they were. And so it was always, I thought everybody else was wrong. And I continued that tradition. So Bible movies I would always argue with as well. And my husband would just roll his eyes. Um, I did not convert as an adult, but it is interesting that looking at the organization from the outside in, I can see why it appealed to my mother because she came in when I was probably about 2 or 3. She was a single mother with 3 children in the 60s when that was just not done. And so I can see where the appeal for her was. It gave her structure, it gave her an extended family, it gave her the love, the attention, a goal, something that she could really belong to. And it kind of makes it hard now because I'm afraid of her finding out the truth of the truth. I don't know how she'd handle it. But anyway, that's another story. Um, number 4 was witness married to a non-witness who converted. Well, because I was in poor standing, and again, 14 must be the age because 14 was when I was really pressured to get baptized, and I hear it a lot that 14 was the age. It must be like the magic age. My sister was up. My younger sister and my younger brother were both already baptized, so I had the added pressure. My father was an elder. That was a little more pressure, and everybody else in the Kingdom Hall was getting baptized or already baptized, so there was a lot. And I do think I got caught up in the Raymond Franz frenzy because the timing was right for that to happen because I got treated really badly, and I started to rebel. So I ended up, the pick of the litter in the Kingdom Hall when I got of marriage age was not very good. So I ended up marrying one of the weaker brothers in the congregation. And I mean, he was really weak to marry an unbaptized, in trouble kind of girl in the congregation. And he only converts when he wants to. He's a very active witness when he wants to, and he's a bum. That's a whole other story. I really don't want to get into that, but in this, but. He didn't convert, but he converts whenever he feels like it, kind of thing. And so that's interesting. Um, what promoted you to start looking? Again, on a previous video, I talk about how my questions led to doubts, and then I have another series where I talk to, faith lost, now what kind of thing. I never, ever, ever looked at apostate, what quote unquote apostate stuff until I started having real doubts. And those came with my mother coming back into my life, kind of re-upped the interest of going back. And, you know, if I was going to go back, I was going to go back all the way. Started meeting with a sister, and we didn't really start studying, but I had questions that weren't getting answered. And eventually I started looking on the net to try and get some of these answers. And that led me to losing my faith. But I'm telling you, once I really started to examine the Watchtower Society, I was terrified. I mean, I broke out into a sweat. I was really afraid of going down that path. And it would have never occurred to me, even the 20 years that I was a believer but not active, never occurred to me to even look at that stuff. And it blows me away. I mean, I'm happy that there's active witnesses and stuff out there looking at this stuff, but it blows me away. I would have never been on looking at this stuff as a believer, ever. It's just really weird. When I did start to look, she asked something about, you know, she said something about, you know, afraid to watch the History Channel. I argued with the History Channel because they did it wrong. They obviously didn't know what they were talking about, especially around Jerusalem and all that kind of stuff. They were completely wrong. So I would just yell at the TV all the time and argue with it. So I'd watch them, but it was always in my head that they were wrong, that the organization was right. How I got out, this is a little strange because I actually officially left the first time when I was 22. I got divorced. It was a very bad marriage and ended up leaving. And I left him. I left the organization. I pretty much left everything. It was the final straw for the relationship, the shunning part of the relationship. I wasn't officially shunned the way a disfellowship person was, but there was a lot of that. Our relationship wasn't the same. It was family emergencies, very, you know, cordial, but not, there was a real distance there to where we ended up just not even associating with each other anymore because it was very uncomfortable. And even now that we're kind of reestablishing, trying to reconnect, it's that uncomfortable thing. I've just in a different place now. I think I'm, you know, better equipped to handle it and be in this, you know, have the cavern and approach it in a way that can keep the lines of communication. Back then it was just extremely painful. And when I got divorced, it was very tough because I got a lot of, you know, you made your bed, you lie in it, I don't care, you know, what's going on. And they didn't want to know any of the details, and the details were not very pretty. But it was, you should have sucked it up and you should have stayed. We don't care how bad it was. You should have sucked it up and you should have stayed. And you made your bed and you're on your own kind of thing. And that for me was really the final straw of I'm getting out of here kind of thing. And I ended up moving. I ended up moving to Texas. So I went from California to Texas. And Blanche actually has some series where he lives in my old neck of the woods. When I was an adult and lived out on my own for the first time, I was in the North Park area before it got all built up. I'm sure it was in the process of getting built up, so I'm sure it's pretty built up now. But yeah, I moved to Texas. And out there I didn't know anybody in the congregations. And I had some family out there that were witnesses, but they were, you know, an hour or so away, so it wasn't like I ran into them, and it was a little different. So my transition was pretty sudden and kind of a clean cut. But like I said, you know, it wasn't, my life went into the toilet after that. And I was pretty low for a long time, so that wasn't a good time. But in a way, it was a good thing to happen because I ended up growing from that experience. And like I said, I'm not the same person that I was. I did a lot of growing up that I didn't realize that I did. Looking back, I can see where I really did break free from the organization in a lot of ways other than the doctrine. So today, waking up, you know, when I woke up and realized that it was all, you know, a big fat lie, I really went through a period where I just felt like I woke up on the moon. And when I started finally watching the videos, the Matrix was uh, referenced a lot, and that's exactly it's a good analogy because that's what it's like. Because it is. It's like you've never used your eyes before. You've never done this. Weird. It was just a surreal experience. And yes, I did go through the mourning process. I grieved. I was angry. You know, it's like all the stages of acceptance. I was pissed off. I felt like a fool. I felt so deceived and lied to. I mean, I was trying to explain it to my husband, and I said that, I said I could walk into the bedroom and catch you having sex with circus clowns and a goat and feel less betrayed than I am by this. And of course he jokes going, you mean I can have sex with circus clowns and a goat? But yeah, I felt extremely betrayed and deceived and like a fool and depressed. I was so depressed and angry and so many emotions that came through me at one time. And I'm still struggling a little bit, to be honest with you. I'm past the anger, most of the anger, I should say, because every once in a while it does pop up, but most of the anger, most of the depression, and most of all that is gone. I just still get surprised. Every time I think I can't get surprised by something, I get surprised. And so I think I'll be going through that for a while. But it is still kind of surreal. I don't know, when it comes to the Bible or religion or anything, I have no idea where I stand or where I'm going or what I believe. Or there's the logic, like I explained in a previous video, logic and emotion, they're battling. And, there's a lot of things out there that make sense, and I'm just not sure where I'm going. Um, uh, the dealing with family members. Now that I know everything that I know, and like I said, I'm always uncovering something new about the organization. But now that I know what I know about the organization, I really want to just get people out. And that's probably one of the biggest frustrations, because happy witnesses, it's almost cruel to try and enlighten them. One, they're not going to listen. They're not ready to hear it. And if they did believe you, I think their heads would just blow off. And so, and like for my mother, who, I really don't know. She's been suicidal in the past, and it really scares me, that side of what could happen. So, I'm not out to try and transform or enlighten happy witnesses, but I would like to just rescue as many as I can that are on the fence or stuck or coming to an awareness. Any way I can help get you out of there, I would be more than happy to get you out of there, because I do see it as extremely dangerous and destructive and manipulative, and it's all about money, and on and on and on and on and on. It's just at one time I didn't want to show any disrespect. I wanted to just sit back quietly the way they wanted you to. But now I have no respect, and they don't deserve any respect. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm with Lucius. This is war, and I'm not after the innocent civilians, but this is a battle that I'm in. I haven't quite taken the oath yet, but I am planning on it. But anyway, I just wanted to reply. I didn't mean to talk. I am a talker, just so you know. Once I start talking, it's really hard for me to just shut up. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and I hope these answers your questions, and I hope I don't bore anybody too much, and I will talk to you soon.